Great stuff. And please welcome to the stage the director MJ Delaney and the stars Sheridan Smith and Jaime Winstone. Welcome, ladies. Come and have a seat. Hello, hello. Well, it's great to have you here.
Thank you. Hello.
Recognising some people there, I see.
Yes, hello. Twit fam.
Now, I've been lucky enough to see the film, and I'd like to congratulate you. It was a lot of fun. I was laughing throughout.
Thank you.
Was it a lot of fun to make? I'm guessing it was.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was basically like hanging out with all your good mates and going into work. It was quite wild, wasn't it, Sheridan?
It was. You were our boss. Were we well behaved?
Very well behaved.
Lying.
Would you like to elaborate on the wild thing at all, Sheridan?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's written by a young female writer who's brilliant, and it was originally a play that they've adapted into a film. We've got the most amazing, young, strong, amazing director that's going to go on to massive things in charge of us, and then all these other strong women in the cast. So it was just great. It was literally like going to work with a load of mates, and we had a lot of banter on set, and you kept us kind of under control, didn't you? But it's, you know, it's
Was it difficult to keep them under control, MJ?
sometimes?
No, it was very
Yeah, I got a little bit on
girly,
hand.
loving, sort of fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was very girly. It was lovely. It was really nice to have so many women together.
Well, that's right. I mean, watching it as a film critic, it's fantastic to see a British film with an almost all-female cast, and that's such a rare thing to see. Is that something that appealed to you, Jaime, for instance, when you got the script?
Definitely. It's kind of rare that you get a script that the characters just jump out at you, and I knew I wanted to play Chanel instantly. She was so much fun. She was so confident. She's a really strong young girl, and she's very sexually charged, and I think it's very nice to see a woman who is confident and sexual in that same light without being mean or dark or portrayed badly. So I was really happy to play Chanel and to work with these lot. They were amazing, and I've always wanted to work with Sheridan, so yeah, it was great.
Oh, so it's a little dream come true for you both.
Yeah,
We kept seeing each other at do's, didn't we? Going, I want to work with you. I
what
want to work
about
with you.
you?
And then when this script came along, it was just perfect. So yeah.
And how about you, Sheridan, and your character? How did you relate to your character?
Well, Sam kind of everything goes wrong for her. She's a bit like me, a bit of a klutz. I hurt my ankle the other week, fell over. You don't need to know that. But basically, she's kind of at like a quarter-life crisis and stuck in a bit of a rut. And it's that thing with social media. It's very current, really, with all the pressures on girls, like about having to be, are you too thin, are you too fat? And she's kind of been going on Facebook, seeing all her old school friends doing really well, gone off to Paris, and people getting married. So she just feels stuck in a rut. So on this night out, it all happens in the ladies' toilets. But she meets these girls, and she tells a few white lies. And it all kind of comes unstuck. Hilarity ensues. But there's a really lovely message as well, you know, at the heart of it, about being true to yourself and loving your friends.
Oh, I think that's well put. There's actually a couple of scenes just slightly outside the toilets, and we're going to have a look at one now, which is where your character has a little chat in the smoking area. Okay, so we'll cut to that.
Okay.
Love this scene.
What a great scene. Aww. Congratulations. Fantastic performance there, Sheridan.
Oh, thank you. It's really sad because they could be great together, but he says that about working in the cafe and she's feeling all insecure and leaves.
Yeah.
Told a bunch of lies.
Told a bunch of lies by that point. Is about to become unstuck.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, MJ, tell me a little bit about what attracted you to this. This is your first feature film, isn't it? I mean, it's very interesting layered characters. It's based on a stage play.
Yeah.
What attracted you to the play?
I never saw the play, but I read Damien gave me the producer gave me the script to read. I just thought it was really funny. There's a lot of funny stuff in there, and I also thought it's very truthful and honest about female friendships and the way that girls are when they're unguarded, and also about how they behave with one another and how they're influenced by one another. And I think it was quite interesting in terms of what it says about being young today, when you suddenly are looking at all these people who you otherwise would have totally lost touch with and never seen nor cared what they were doing, and suddenly you're watching them online and imagining that they have these awesome lives that they're projecting that's making you feel shit about your life. And it's sort of a whole new set of things to be vulnerable and insecure about. And
yeah, I think that's very good. And the Facebook thing sort of comes up a bit, doesn't it? Your character, I love, is taking pictures of herself, like selfies, isn't she?
Constant selfies,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's, it's a really nice way of showing that there's so many pressures that young girls and young men go through to be beautiful and to be skinny and to be the picture of perfection. And actually it's all a facade, and actually everybody has their flaws and everybody has insecurities. And if, like Sheridan said, if you are true to yourself and you're true to your friends, and you're going to be, end up much better and better off. And I think it's a really nice way of showing it in this film. It's really sweet and really special.
Sisters before misters, yeah?
Sisters before misters.
Very good. And talking to misters, what about the few men involved in the film? Were they in the least bit intimidated, perhaps?
Yeah,
by
they
all
were
the women?
terrified.
Absolutely terrified. Yeah.
So what was their reaction?
Well, I don't know, because we didn't even...
They're already around for about half an hour.
Yeah, they weren't really around
No,
much. They ran
actually-
for the hills.
It was quite amazing on set, and we'd walk on, and because we were in this kind of closed set half the time in these toilets, and it just became kind of second-hand nature. It was our home, and a lot of the crew were men, and we actually, I don't know, they were really respectful, and I think half 50% terrified, because we were all in such character and so strong at this point, and. Yeah, it was really nice. It's a really, everybody involved in this project wanted to be involved in it, because the script was so lovely. It was really funny, and everybody involved was really into it. Just not for money or not for anything else. It was great.
There's a real camaraderie between everyone, wasn't there? And what you see kind of on screen, what MJ created on set, was this group of friends that even when we cut, it was the still same banter, and it was a really special job, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were lucky in the script as well, which we didn't realise would happen, but the way that it's structured is that everybody's sort of in a pair. So it was all these little sort of pairs of besties, like these two, and then Una and Kate, and Ryan and Sarah, and Alice and Zara, and Bumi and Lashana. Everyone was off on their little pair, which was quite nice, because it means everyone would come to set in their little pairs, and then they go off and you just see them sort of giggling in a corner together, and then they come. So it kept the energy up, because everyone had their little best mate to hang around with all the time.
So that kind of mirrored it then off screen there, with you guys just hanging out constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you get up to? Go on.
No, obviously we'd have to have a lot of bonding sessions
We're
to get
very
to know each
method,
other. Very method.
We had to go out and get hammered a few times.
No, we had a few lovely nights out actually where we all got together and had a bit of a party, but it was so fun. I mean, once you actually watch this film and then you go out and you realise, women, when you go to the toilets and you realise women are so funny and we do the craziest stuff, and men don't have a clue what goes on behind that door. They really don't. So this is going to open a lot of doors, a lot of eyes, lift the lids, excuse the pun, on what actually goes on in toilets. I think they have this kind of fantasy kind of vision of what goes on in girls' toilets, and it's going to either be very ruined and softened by comedy, because, a lot of tears and a lot of crazy dramas go on, and it's actually a real bonding place, because, you're all sharing it, and all the boundaries are down, and, you're on show in the club, or you're kind of, fronting, and then you go in the toilets and you need help, you need to sort yourself out, you need to do your makeup. And there's just something really honest and true about this film, and that's why we loved it, really.
Do you think men will be surprised when they see what girls actually get up to in the news?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. How would you describe it, other than the tears and the tantrums and the bonding?
I think it's a testament to female friendship in a way, and I don't think that's done very often on screen. Yeah. It's sort of Rachel, who wrote it, and I were always really keen that it remained that, and there was sort of, because for example in that scene we just watched, it's like, there has to be a resolution, that they have to get together, and we was like, no, it's about these two getting together at the end, and it's like, and I think it's nice. It's a celebration of female friendship and how unique it is and what's special about that relationship.
Are there any films that you loved when you were younger about that kind of thing? Like Desperately Seeking Susan or anything like that? The female
Beaches.
Friendship. Beaches, right.
Oh, that was a great one. That always gets me, that one.
Yeah, female bonding. Don't tear up. And you guys, anything? Yeah.
Beaches.
Beaches all round then. Okay, good.
That'll do.
Right. We're going off to watch Beaches later. Should we have another look at a clip? Because we got Kate Nash in the film as well, and she obviously plays your old friend. So let's have a look and see what goes on with that. Very good. Well done again.
Wee.
So you can see what your character's up against then with those two.
Yeah, bless her. She's trying to fit in, but not being very successful.
And that must be something which will really, we sort of touched on this, but will really strike a chord with a lot of young women. They're trying to impress, they're trying to live up to expectations which might be unrealistic, or compare themselves to other people. I mean, how do you think films, MJ, can not help with this kind of thing, other than reflecting it on screen?
I think it's sort of, again, Rachel and I were really keen that it was very two-sided. So you've got Sam, Sheridan's character, on the one side feeling hugely intimidated by this seemingly perfect life, but then you've got Jess and Michelle on the other side who are projecting this perfect life, but isn't actually what their life is at all. And you've kind of got both sides of the coin, where you've got this kind of Instagram feed of sort of the perfect existence where everything is wonderful and she's got the perfect husband and the perfect child, but it's actually not the case at all. And then on the other end is someone looking at this thing being like, oh, my life's not as good as that. And it's sort of nobody's happy. And it's kind of...
Deep down, actually, it's all a lie sort of thing.
So it's sort of... I think Rachel was quite clever, because I think it is that challenge of this whole new aspect to our lives, which is online, and trying to make that filmic. And I think she did a really good job of writing something which constantly references that and makes you think of that without ever actually seeing a computer screen, which is fairly dull.
Yes, that's right. I mean, you don't actually get any direct visual references to
there's
social
one,
media.
you see one Facebook profile on a phone, I think, at one point, and that's it.
And that's about it, yeah. I mean, how about you guys? How are your lives affected by it? I mean, did you relate to this kind of idea that social media can sort of take things over?
Yeah, I think it's hard not to be affected by Facebook and Instagram and everything else and Twitter, because, you know, it's a part of our generation. It's a part of our sort of our network. And yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'd be lying to say, oh my God, that you don't check out Rihanna's ass and go, oh my God, how amazing is she? And or how look at their lives and how amazing is that? But, you know, you kind of also got to go, this, it's still not real. There's always a filter or there's something that's, you know, it's not necessarily the epitome of happiness. And I think, you know, it's magazines and everything else that kind of builds up this kind of facade of beauty. And actually, you know, it's, without sounding too corny, it's within, really. And without, you know, I think people are a lot more happier when they're just out with their friends and socialising and actually being happy, rather than sort of putting to the world of how happy we are. Look how happy we are. I think that just goes to show that you're wasting a lot of time on a computer.
Yeah, that's
showing
true.
people how happy you are, which is obviously rubbish.
Would you agree, Sheridan, as, you know, someone with, you know, obviously also celebrity status? I mean, people look to you. Are you sort of happy to say, do you know what, my life isn't 100% perfect? You know, to be honest.
Oh my God, no, mine isn't at all. The Twitter family know that. They're all down here. No, but that's the thing. It's all relative to you. All girls have got insecurities and fears, you know. And I look on Facebook and see all my mates in school have got kids, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. You brought kids into the world, and I'm just pretending to be other people. It's weird. So, you know, everything's relative, and you kind of look, but, you know, that's the thing. It's about what Jamie said. It's about being true to yourself and just loving yourself for what you've got and your friends, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. And what were the challenges of bringing a stage play to the screen? Because obviously it's coming from quite a theatrical place. So how did you make it a bit more filmic? Do you feel, MJ?
I think it was definitely a challenge, because it's such a low budget film as well. In that sort of your instinct in turning a play into a film is to take something that's set in one location and set it across multiple locations. Yeah. And obviously, if you go into the theatre and you sit down and the set is a toilet, you're like, okay, I'm in the toilet for the next 2.5 hours. Whereas in a film, you're sitting there thinking like, oh, this toilet scene's lasting quite a long time. Yeah. So it was. We tried a lot within the production design, just to kind of each of the cubicles to try and make it feel like a new space, and we kind of had the sinks freestanding so you could get behind them and have different lighting there, lots of little cubby holes and sort of spaces built in so characters could hide from one another within the room, and so you can play with the dynamics of the space. And then we just, with the set build, tried to make it as flexible as possible so we could maximise the number of camera angles you can have with what is essentially a 4-walled box. So it's like the walls could come off, the cubicles come out, we had camera traps and the lights, the mirrors could spin and come off and everything. Yeah. And then with the club, trying to just have injections of energy when we got outside. I mean, I was always really keen. I sort of hate it in films when characters, or TV, when characters are like having a conversation on the dance floor. Because that just doesn't... You can't have a conversation.
You can't
on a
hear
dance
each other.
Or fake dancing. Yeah, extras dancing in the background to no music. Yeah. So we'd filmed all... We didn't shoot for sound. We just had music blaring, bands playing, actual people getting pissed in there. Yeah. And so it
really,
was,
the extras were going for it.
Well, it was hard, but we had some extras and then just punters. We basically put on...
I wondered that.
Yeah, they were just getting drunk. And MJ went to me at one point. There's a bit where I had to be running through the crowd looking for someone, and MJ just went, just run. I was like, yeah, but they're just normal people having a drink. What if I push them? She went, just go, run. And the camera was on me, and I ran, and I bashed into this woman. She spilt a drink, and she went, oi! I was like, I'm sorry, I'm filming. Please don't punch me. That nearly got in a lot of trouble.
That
But
nearly
it made it really real, you know, and that's what you were just brilliant
people
at.
pissing on the lighting gear.
Yeah, I mean, it's proper rock and roll. It was bonkers.
Oh no! Did you guys have a drink as well while you were filming, or was it all strictly?
no, we're
prep?
very professional.
darling, we're professionals.
Of course.
Of course
No.
not. MJ, did you? You're the boss. You can do what you want.
It was amazing though. Some of the party scenes, you know, because we had the fake club, the band performing.
Brilliant,
They
brilliant.
narrate it throughout, and you know, because everybody was really into it. So we would be just like filming in this club, and you know, they were real punters, and it just had a real great atmosphere, and it totally just fueled the real vibe
You
of
could feel that.
Yeah, it was amazing
yeah.
actually.
Lots of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's have some questions from you lot now, shall we? So, has anyone got anything would like to ask anyone on stage?
Question for MJ. As it's your first feature, was it quite different to go from directing shorts to directing features, or anything that you did differently, or?
Yeah, it was terrifying. Yeah. I had actually never made a short film. I did. The year before last, I did the Coming Up scheme for Channel 4, which is like they pair young directors and young writers, and you make a half-hour like drama for Channel 4. Which when I did that, it was 25 minutes long with the ad breaks, and previous to that, the longest thing I'd ever done was 5 minutes. And I came up doing like online virals, music videos, that kind of thing, and so I was like, God, how on earth am I going to make something this long? And then went straight from that to like a 90-minute film. So yeah, it was terrifying, but it was also like really nice. It was like the longest job I've ever had. So you sort of like so focused on one thing. Like we were in the edit for 3 months, which is very short for a feature, but little did I know. But it was nice to kind of immerse yourself so completely, because you can tend to be sort of half out of one job and half in the next, and not. So it was really nice to just get stuck into something for a really long period of time. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
Hi, ladies. I wish your film appeals to men as well. I would like to ask MJ, out of all the films that you have watched in the past and you liked, which one would you redirect if you had the opportunity?
What film would I like to have directed?
To redirect, out of all the films that you have watched in the past.
Bugsy Malone. Yay! It'd be so much fun, right?
Oh, you should do it. It sounds great.
Am I too old to play Tallulah now?
Yeah.
I'm not a kid.
She would go great, Tallulah.
It would be. You've got to spawn an offspring and train it.
You're all Bugsy fans, I take it.
In the garage.
Yeah. Very interesting question. Any others?
I just asking a question about, like, because you're dealing with a smaller film and a smaller budget, and definitely for a first-time director, that's kind of the first step that you take, right? You get a smaller budget to work on a smaller film, that kind of leads on. Now that you've actually had this experience of doing this first directing role, I mean, has that kind of just blown the doors off to what you want to do next? Have you already got things planned or projects that you want to do for the future? And are you also thinking of specific casts that you want to be in that?
Yeah, I've got. There's a number of projects that I'd like to make. I think in terms of like the low budget thing, I think as your budgets get bigger, the projects get more ambitious, hand in hand with that. So I think you've got to get to kind of stratospheric Hollywood levels before you're kind of like, oh, what on earth shall I spend all this money on? So I think it's sort of realistic in that it's always tight on a budget, but. Yeah, I definitely want to make more films and hopefully just keep doing what I'm doing. I like it a lot.
Hiya. A question for Sheridan. What would be your ideal night out?
My ideal night out would be... Keep it clean. You know me so well. Would be with we've got the premiere on Wednesday. And we're getting the band back together. No, we're getting the whole cast and crew will be reuniting after a year apart, and I think that's going to be a hell of a night out, don't you think? So I'm very much looking forward to that. But of course, a night out with all you guys as well would be. You're going? You're going to be there? See you at the premiere. Amazing. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to next Wednesday. But any night out with the girls is a good night, isn't it? Sorry, boys.
Yes, question for Sheridan and Jaime. How much harder is it as actors when there's not chemistry? Clearly there's chemistry in this film, but what experience have you had where maybe it wasn't so easy?
I mean, obviously, me and Sheridan work together, and we've been dying to work with each other. So it was very lucky that it came across that we had really good chemistry, because we did, and we were just, it just worked. And MJ came back to us like, you two are like besties on screen, and it was amazing. But yeah, I mean, I've had some situations where it's been a bit tricky, a bit cold.
Who? Tell us. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, go on, tell us. Well, I can't.
You can't.
No, but like where you're kind of having to make it, and it. Sometimes it's mad because you feel like you don't have the chemistry, but obviously that's your job as an actor to kind of, put that across and to convince the audience, no matter what, that's happening. And actually, it doesn't portray on screen sometimes. Sometimes it's just flat and you need to do something about it, but that's your job as an actor to kind of liven it up or kind of get the spark back or do something that you can change that. But yeah, it's weird. Sometimes you can think, oh, that was a bit flat, and then you watch it and it's just full of life. So it's tricky, really. I haven't had the worst experience, though. I mean, I've heard horror stories where people are just awful to fellow actors.
I've heard ones where they stop kissing and they literally walk away.
Yeah, they walk away.
Go to separate trailers. I mean, imagine that. That'd be awful.
Or some even actors don't even stand there to deliver their lines. If the camera's not on them, they're not even there. But that's outrageous, isn't it, really? Yeah, it's rude.
That's for Jaime and Sheridan. Would you like to play the same roles on stage?
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
The musical version.
Yeah, the musical.
You've got to direct it, obviously. Yeah, no, that would be a great idea to bring it back as a play, wouldn't it?
Because I never saw it as a play and I never read it as a play. So
I think it's changed a lot. You adapted it a lot for this film.
Changed a lot. Yeah. Well, your character's not in it, so you're out.
Well, there goes that. I think that would be amazing, actually.
Yeah, a tap number or something in the middle, just go across the stage.
We've got time for one more question. Does anyone like to ask the final question?
Hello.
Hi.
My question is for all of you. Who would be, what would be your dream cast and crew to have on a film? Like, who would you want to work with that's in the industry at the moment?
These two.
Correct.
That was easy. Anyone else?
Is anyone new?
No, obviously these two. I've wanted to work with Sheridan for ages, like I said. MJ's a really amazing. I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. She's an amazing, young, talented director, which is very rare to kind of work with a really strong, outgoing female director in the industry. So I've pretty much done that, actually. I think we've just kind of done... I mean, obviously there's greats, like, I wouldn't mind to work with...
I won't mind. I wouldn't say no to Tom Hardy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Already
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Or Jamie Cook. What's that other one who's about to do 50 Shades of Grey?
Dornham.
Sorry.
He's marrying my friend.
This isn't the type of Q&A you wanted at all, is it?
A long list of guys you like.
No, but you know, like you want to work with James and all that.
Yeah.
Dame Judy.
Yeah. Well, Judy. No, I mean, yeah, there's so many. I mean... it's endless, really. I mean, all the greats. Tilda Swinton would be someone I'd like to do a one-on-one scene with because she's pretty powerful.
Dolly Parton, let's get her back.
Oh, babe, Dolly.
I'd love to. A remake of 9 to 5. Let's do it.
Do it.
Right, MJ can direct it. Okay, lovely. We look forward to that. Fantastic. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on today. Best of luck with Powder Room. And
thank you
again.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy the film.